Here we are in the quadratic calculator that I want to build. I want it to look like this. You have an A box in front of your x squared plus a B box in front of your x plus the C box in front of the equals 0. A little button to do a calculation. To do that, I'm going to go to the recent fiddles that I've created, and I'm going to go and get one of my Pythagorean calculators. So something like this. Here's the code for it. I'm just going to modify it to be my quadratic equation calculator. I'm going to go over to here to fork it into a new one, which means this is now going to be something new. I want to give it a new name, so I'm going to call it Quadratic Calculator. We don't need the image anymore. I'm going to get rid of the image. I don't need these divs. I need my feedback. Keep my feedback div. We don't need the try image stuff in the CSS. Going to remove that. I don't have an A div or a B div or a C div. I'm going to remove that. I still need my calculate button, so I'm going to keep my calculate button, my calculate div. I'm going to keep the feedback div. It looks like this now with my 3 text boxes, and my calculate button should be visible. Oh, I think I removed it accidentally. Let me just double check all that. I accidentally removed the calculate button. Let's go back down here. If you make a mistake like that, I just did edit undo command Z, and it brought me to here. So I have the A box, the B box. Somehow I've gotten rid of the C box. Let's get rid of that, get rid of this. Keep the calc div with the calc button inside it and the feedback div. And then if we run it, it looks like this. Here's my calc button. That's good. And the feedback, I'm just going to write the word hey. If we run that, we should see the word hey. There it is down here. That's all working. Maybe that's a bit low. We'll move the feedback div up higher. Move the calculate button a little bit closer to here. Let's move the calculate button to 50 pixels. Yeah, that's fine. And we'll put the feedback right below here. Try 40 pixels or even 30 pixels. How about 35 pixels? That's perfect. We'll put the feedback div, try 140, try 40 pixels. 40 pixels seems fine. We'll leave it like that. I want to have a CSS for my A box. Copy the word A box. And in my CSS, I'm going to write hashtag A box, space, open brace brackets, return width 20 pixels. So my A box is about that big. Copy and paste all of this for the B and for the C. Change that to B box and that to C box. And there we have it. Okay, put all this on one line. Notice this does not change when I do that. And just after the A box, I want to have x squared. Put x. To make the squared, I'm going to put SUP for superscript 2. Then after the B box, I want an X, and I need a plus that comes after that superscript. So plus the B box, run that, see what that looks like. So we have the A, X squared, plus the B, X, but I need a plus in front of the C box. I need a plus right here. Run that, it looks like that. That's excellent. Inside the JavaScript, we have a calculate button. It brings us to this calculate function. I'm going to keep that. We have the A box, the B box, and the A values. That's exactly the way I want it. I have the feedback, which is just some text, and I need to make var feedback box is equal to, this sort of code, is equal to all of that with the word feedback in it, because that was our ID for the feedback. Feedback box is this. And I'm going to make a variable for the discriminant. If you remember, the discriminant is A, B, and C. So the discriminant is the B squared, B times B minus 4 times the A times the C. That's the discriminant. It's the thing inside the square root brackets. If we were looking at the quadratic formula, this inside the square root is the discriminant, B squared minus 4AC. If this is less than 0, well, you can't take the square root of a negative, so that means there are no solutions. This can't be equal to a real number. If it's equal to 0, then this becomes 0, and you have one solution, negative b over 2a. If this is greater than 0, then you have 2 solutions. You take the square root of it, we're going to get 2 numbers. The positive version of this and the negative version of the square root of the discriminant. So the discriminant is really important to us. If the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac, if the discriminant is equal to 0, if the discriminant is negative, if disc is less than 0. If it's negative, then we can't take the square root of a negative. There's no solution. Feedback is no solution. Get rid of that C. Else, copy all that, else, if the discriminant is equal to 0, then this is 0. We end up getting negative b plus or minus still negative b divided by 2a. So negative b divided by 2a is our x value. The discriminant is equal to 0. Then I'm going to make a variable, call it x, is equal to negative b divided by, in brackets, 2 times the a. So the feedback should be x is equal to plus the value of b of the x. Or else, if the discriminant is not less than 0, it's not equal to 0, well, it must be greater than 0. No other choice. I'm not even going to put an if here. I'm just going to assume that it's greater than 0. Make two variables. Var x1 is negative b. I'm going to put all that in brackets. Negative b minus square root, so math.sqrt of the discriminant. Then all of that divided by, brackets, 2 times the a. So that is our x1. Our x2 is almost identical. It's just this minus becomes a plus. This is our x2. Our feedback should be that our x1, I'm going to write x subscript sub 1, close the bracket, slash sub, is equal to, and then I'm going to put x1. I'm going to copy all of that, put plus, then x sub 2 is equal to x2, like that. Let's get rid of that. Our feedback box, we need to do something with. The feedback box, I called it feedback box. See, feedback is one feedback box. It should look like that. Feedback box. We're missing the else here. If disk is less than 0, or else if disk is equal to 0, or else we're looking at when the disk is greater than 0. So let's run that. We put something like 1, 2, 3, which has no solution. But if we put 1, 2, negative 3, which has a solution, it gives us the solution. And that is it for the quadratic calculator. Have a good day.